Hey Rob,
How's it going?
think you're on mute.
Am I
Hi.
unmuted now?
Yeah, now I hear you. How's everything going?
It's good. How about yourself?
Doing good. Pretty. We had the Jewish holidays last weekend, but it's actually been pretty busy for us.
Yeah,
Most
that's what I
yeah,
heard.
a lot of New York is Jewish.
Yeah, no, I heard was on a call and that's what they were talking about in that Northeast region.
Yeah,
But anyway, we've been practicing scripts. So,
good. Let's do it. Let's hit it. Start off strong. We got one more. We got a couple of like one more minute, so the rest joins on. Then we can start off. What do
all
you
right,
want to practice there, Rob?
hang on one sec. I have one I want to grab that I printed up.
Perfect.
The ones we've been doing most recently is what makes you different from other agents and then price reduction.
Okay.
So I'm happy to, if you're ready to start, I'll start and I'll be the agent and you can ask me what makes you different from other agents.
Perfect. All right. Um, Kim, Victoria, Carol, thank you for joining today. This is role play. Um, I'm Justin Martinez from Martinez team based out of New York City in Midtown. I have a team of five. I've been coaching with Chirag since March 2020. I'm his first client. And what the reason why I joined his group in the first place, besides the awesome community, was because role playing has helped me increase my business year over year, actually doubled since every year since joining with Chirag. And the point of the of role playing is we don't want to practice on the clients. We want to practice with each other. That way we don't lose the business. All right, let's go, Rob.
Okay, Justin, you're going to ask me what makes me different.
All right, Rob, what makes you different from the other Compass agents I've been meeting with?
Well, Justin, if you want to know what makes me different, I'm more than happy to share the names and information of 3 to 5 people that I've successfully worked with. Some may or may not have worked with other brokers, but more importantly, Justin, what kind of experience are you looking for when you partner with an agent to sell your home?
Well, I would like to sell quickly, and I want someone to communicate to me what's going on week by week.
Great. Well, I'll be happy to talk to you about that in more detail, but I do have a communication plan that I set up with all my clients
Mhm.
and that I'll I'll sit down and talk with you and get an idea of when you'd like to for me to reach out. Also, we'll talk about showing feedback and such throughout the process.
Mhm.
Does that sound like a good plan for you?
Sure. What is a communication plan?
Well, it's basically a schedule that we'll set up on a weekly or biweekly or whatever we're comfortable with, you and I, and then how you'd like to be communicated with, whether it's text, email, Zoom. That way, we're on the same schedule going forward from the pre-listing through the process and then after the sale as well.
Hmm.
So I want to make sure that I'm communicating in a manner that works for you. That's what the plan is. Does that
Got
sound
it.
like something that would you would be comfortable with?
Yeah, that sounds good. Question to you. Typically Zooms are not good, and typically I work very long hours. Are you open to doing like a call at like 8 o'clock at night during the week?
I'd need to sit down with you and my schedule and we could set that up. I've done it for people in the past and I think it works well. It's just something that we'll put on the calendar and I'll coordinate with you. And that way I have the information ready for you when we meet or when we speak. So
Perfect.
that's
Okay.
cool. Well, what I'd like to do next is set up an appointment to meet with you and take a look at your property and see if it's the right fit for us to work together.
Okay.
Um, would tomorrow afternoon, say you said you work late, what time would be best for you?
Honestly, during the week is a little tough. Are you open to meeting me on Saturday or Sunday?
Sure. let me look at my calendar, but you know, Saturday or Sunday can certainly work. Do you have a preference?
Like midday, like around noon would be
Why
great.
don't we meet this Saturday at noon at your house? And I'll just check in with you on Friday, make sure that's still a go. And I'll email you some information in advance so you can review it. Does that
Uh,
sound
to, to be honest with you, Rob, like I don't really check my emails. If you could just would it be, is it possible for you just to text me everything?
good? Sure. No, we can get it over to you in text format. And we'll go from there.
All right, that works better for me. So yeah, so I guess we'll confirm Friday.
That sounds good. Look forward to seeing you on Saturday. Thanks, Justin.
Okay, thank you. Pretty good, pretty solid. I mean, you ended with you made your statement, that you ended with a question. So I think it's pretty good.
Okay, cool. I've been practicing, and there's so many more scripts. Um, but Chirag said that he was putting together a list of all of them, and
Yeah.
which I think will be helpful for everyone because we've been
So
role playing, and it gets easier, but there's still a lot to learn.
well, the main thing is you want to just conceptualize. Like for me, like personally, I'm not a big script person. I just like I go for bullet points. Like so, like that's why med C is most like it's really important for me. And like and then asking the client like what's most important to you about the agent and company that's going to represent you.
Right.
Then kind of just because like I'm not a script person. Like if I try to read off a script, I'll sound robotic. To be honest. So yeah, so I mean, the main thing is like if scripts work for you, great. But the main thing is just to conceptualize the scripts, and it's supposed to give you just something to go off of, right? Because sometimes you're in a meeting, at like when you're meeting with people, you want to connect with them, right? And at the end of the day, to connect with someone, you have to listen to them, right? And see
Right.
you see their perspective, see where they're coming from, and yeah. So that's just my opinion.
No,
So
I agree.
I have a question for Rob.
Sure.
Rob, how do you practice your scripts? Do you read them over and over every night? Do you try to memorize them? What is your process in trying to
It's a combination of both. And what I started doing recently, probably within the last 2 weeks, is I printed out all the scripts, and there was a young man that was in one of the videos, Stephen DeGale, I think is his name, or DeGet. But anyway, he made his scripts available, so I printed them all up, and I have a role play partner that we meet on Friday afternoons or Friday morning, and then we do that, and then we do it a couple times with different people throughout the week. And so I'm trying to practice more and be more consistent. Like I read some for 20 minutes last night.
yeah.
right? Thank you.
No, that's awesome. You're doing a great job, bro. Keep it going.
Well, now I need to go get that full price commission next week.
Okay. Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. I mean, if you want to practice here, that'd be great. But anyone else want to does anyone else want to practice a specific conversation?
I'm actually just checking in to watch and see what's happening.
Where-
I
where-
may like to participate soon, but not at the moment.
Okay, don't worry, don't be shy. I was like the worst role play person when I started with Chirag. So
Yeah, I know it's
Chirag,
definitely out of the comfort zone.
he screamed at me a lot of times.
Yeah, yeah. So no, I'm just gonna check out what everybody's doing here in the room and then jump in eventually.
All right, cool.
Thank you.
If no one else wants to jump, I mean, Rob, we could practice the other one that you mentioned.
Yes. All right.
If I could interrupt, can somebody just remind me again what MED-C stands for?
Motivations, expectations, disappointments, conditions.
Thank you.
All right. So I'm the listing agent. We're getting ready to sign the paperwork.
Okay.
Is that cool?
Yeah. And what's the goal of the conversation?
You're going to say, Rob, I think everything's great, but John from Sotheby's said he'd do it for 1% less.
Okay. So so it sounds like that the goal is to sign for the full commission, correct?
Yes.
All right, cool. Let's do it.
All right. Justin, thanks so much for meeting with me. I look forward to the opportunity of, helping you sell your home. I just want to go over a few things. I had sent you the marketing plan. You said we went over that together. Do you have any questions about that or anything that we discussed in our past meeting?
So Rob, I really appreciate your time. And like I mentioned in our last meeting, I have been meeting with a few other brokers. And to be honest with you, I really like you, but there's someone else that's doing 1% commission. So I just want to see if you can match it.
Well, sure. I appreciate you letting me know that, Justin, and I'm glad you were able to speak with other agents. What I'd like to get back to is, I know when we were talking originally, you said your motivation was to net the most equity out of your home. Is that still correct?
Correct.
And I think we had discussed your home is probably, somewhere around $1 million, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So if we take a look at that, and I brought some statistics that we can look at,
Okay.
and what I'd like to show you is that homes that are priced effectively in the right price range and are marketed effectively sell in your neighborhood in about 21 days on average. Houses that are not priced right and that are not marketed effectively tend to have a price reduction after about 30 to 60 days and then sell on an average of 90 days. Now, I know we had talked about the timeline that you wanted to move. Is that you still want to move in about, 30 to 45 days? Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, great. Well, I think that looking at the net, I think it would be the process that I go through in the pre-listing and everything, as well as the coming soon, and then the marketing plan will net you the most money. And I would like to look at that and see if we can list at the full 6%.
So what I don't understand. So basically with Sotheby's, they're offering for 1%, right? And if I list with them, they said they're still gonna take pictures and market it. And then when I list with you, it's 6%. So I'm essentially spending $50,000 more. And you're saying that if I list with you, that you're gonna sell it in what, 60 days faster? I just don't understand how.
Right. No, I understand. Maybe I wasn't quite clear. Let me try to explain that. With the marketing plan that we went over and all the details and what we're going to do with social media, etc., you said you were very happy with that plan, and that sounded like an effective way to market your home. Is that correct?
Yes.
Right. I kind of got off track. I started talking too much and I lost it. But I'd rather lose it here than in front of my client.
No worries. I do a lot of these conversations with sellers, so I was purposely being a little tough.
No, it's good because she's gonna say, what's the difference between Sotheby's and Compass? Well, the difference is what's your motivation behind pricing the house, right? We want to net the most amount of money, and my plan and my process will help us do that. Something to that extent, right?
Well, so all right, so to flip the script, right? So I mean, in terms of 1% versus 5%, or is it 6%? Right. So so I'm just gonna, instead of role playing, I give you points.
Yeah, tell me.
So in markets, and I'll give you my personal experience. So in markets where 1% is a big factor, what we notice when we list for full percentage, like 6%, and we're offering the co-broke we're offering the 3% co-broke, what we notice is that buyers agents actually bring buyers to our listings first. Buyers agents all want to make money. They're capitalists, but they also want to get yes, they're representing a buyer, but they're going to show the 3% listing first. That's just the way the brokerage world works, right? So by us listing at a full commission at 6%, we're going to get more foot traffic through the door based on experience. So what we can control is the marketing, right? We can control marketing, we can control the foot traffic from the marketing. And from there, if we get the most people through the door, then essentially what's going to happen is we get a higher likelihood of getting you the highest price. So yes, Sotheby's is going to take photos. That is correct. We're going to also take photos and take better photos. We're going to pre-market your home prior to getting on the market, right? So Rob, like you saw the new iPhone 15 that just came out with Apple, right? I don't know,
Right.
are you an Android user? I'm sorry if I disrespect.
No, iPhone.
All right, perfect. So you saw how many people lined up for the iPhone this weekend to meet Tim Cook and get the phone. There's probably millions of iPhones that sold before even went to the market. So we're going to essentially do that for your home. How does that sound to you?
No, that sounds great. I want a lot of people to come in and look at it.
Perfect. So for starters, that's how we're going to differentiate ourselves with Sotheby's. So then the second part is if we do list for the full commission, we have more of a likelihood of buyers agents are going to prioritize our listing versus the 1% Sotheby's agents. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. That does.
So in terms to answer your question specifically, how we're going to be able to get you that $50,000 back, because it sounds like equity is very important to you, because it sounds like you're going to use this to your next purchase or next rental. I can't guarantee you we're going to get you that $50,000, but I could say we have a higher likelihood with the more traffic we get you in the door, you're going to get the highest price.
Right.
Does that make sense?
It does make sense.
So is there any other questions I can answer what differentiates what we're going to do at 6% versus Sotheby's at 1%?
No, I think that's fine. It makes sense now, Justin. Thank you.
Awesome. So yeah, that's how we'll go about it.
Let's do it. Yeah, no, that sounds good. Usually what happens here, or what happens to me, is that they'll say, oh, can you discount a little bit? And say, well, maybe 0.5% on my side. We always give the buyer side 3%.
Yeah. I mean, you listen, at the end of the day, realtors, we're the largest community of small business owners. It is a business at the end of the day. At the end of the day, if it's your decision, if it makes business sense.
Right.
Chirag, this whole coaching is to get you the most money and help you make, sharpen your skills. That way you could be the most profitable you ever been. Right. But what I typically do, sometimes I'll discount if there's a direct buyer. Right. So I had a conversation yesterday. I said, I had the same discussion, like, well, XYZ agent is doing it for 4%, right? I always throw my manager under the bus. I say, well, my manager this was a listing below $1 million. I said my manager would not let me sign an exclusive for below $1 million for less than 6%. Just so that it's out of my control. Just to let them know it's out of my control. But I said that, if there's a direct buyer, I'll do 4% just to see. So I've done that in the past because it's still more profitable for us, and if we could get the listing and they feel like it's a win-win, that I use that as a worst case scenario.
Yeah, no, we do that too. Okay, I appreciate it. I've got some work to do.
Yeah,
but that's okay.
Karen, yes, I was referring to a private exclusive.
I have a question.
Sure.
I'm sure you heard of Chris Voss and Stephen Shaw. They talk about the favorite or the fool.
Yeah, I love Chris Voss' book.
Me too. I actually met him on Madison Avenue. He was in the store, and I was like, I felt like I had met a movie star. I said, this is better than meeting George Clooney.
Yes. In my opinion, yes, I agree with you.
It was so great. I was like so mesmerized, and I don't get starstruck, right? But anyway, they talk about the favorite or the fool. So when Rob was doing his first role playing, there was in the favor of the fool, before they even go to an appointment, they ask if they're interviewing other agents,
Yes.
and
Yes.
they won't even go on a listing appointment until the potential seller has already seen the other agents,
Yeah.
to determine the seriousness of it. What are your thoughts on that when you're speaking to a seller?
That's a really good question, Karen, and it actually came up in our Midtown sales meeting last week.
With
And
Victoria? With Victoria, right?
yeah.
Yeah, I was there.
And I actually had this with a seller I've been in touch with since 2020 that couldn't sell his house in 2 years. I had this conversation this morning. In my opinion, I'm very confident. I like to go on the pitch. I like
Okay.
competition. That's just me.
Right.
Not even saying that they're competition, because I've also been reading Blue Ocean Strategy. Blue Ocean Strategy, I recommend everyone reads. But basically, the point of Blue Ocean Strategy is you want to figure out what you're solving for in the market, right? So, and if you could figure that out, and you could figure out how to differentiate yourself, like Compass, right? We're leveraging technology, marketing, and the community to find everyone's place in the world, all right?
Right.
So, if you could figure it out what you're solving for, then no one else is competition. And if you could connect with the seller on what's important to them, then honestly, like, they could meet with other brokers. But if you could if in my opinion, if you could hit all the boxes, then I mean, I don't, if they decide to meet other brokers, I mean, I think that's fine, but that's just my opinion. So
Understood.
I get Victoria's strategy. I mean, it's best to be the last person, because it's then you could just go over all the questions like if that they might have had that wasn't answered by the other brokers. But typically, I've had pitches where they're meeting with other brokers. I could be the first, I could be the second, I could be the last. And really, I just am, within my experience, like if we connect and it's a right match, then it's gonna work out regardless.
Yeah, I truly feel it comes down to the relationship,
Yeah.
between you and the seller anyway. So that's what I think works the most.
Yeah, because some sellers, it's honestly like I've been in the business now over 10 years, and I was at a point where, like, I wanted to take every single listing because I was so new in the business. And I figured out, like, over time, as I've gotten older and more experienced in this business, is that, like, the more I pushed and it wasn't the right match, I probably would be that agent that would drop my commission, right? Like, to get the listing, right? Before working with Chirag. So now it's just like, if we're the right match and my strategy makes sense for your goal, I mean, then I think that's what it's gonna always come down to. So that's just my opinion now.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you.
I have a question.
Sure.
I'm not sure if it's off topic or not, or if nobody else is having this issue, but I'm trying to add more people to my CRM.
Okay.
And I have no problem meeting people, talking with people, getting real estate to come into the conversation, hand out a business card. I don't have issues with that. My issue is changing from just having a casual conversation and talking about real estate to, hey, let me put your name in my CRM and get your email and your phone number. I have a hard time transitioning to that. Does anybody have like a really good rep that they use to transition?
I mean, so I've done a lot of cold calling. I know, like, some people, don't do it, or some people have sprout. Like I've actually closed 80% of my business from cold call people.
Wow.
So typically when I meet these people and they're not interested in, like, meeting yet, I just ask them, would it be helpful at the end of the quarter or at the end of the year I touch base and send you a portfolio review, which is a fancy word of sending comps, showing what the properties were. So if they're a seller or they own a property, you could say, would it be helpful if I emailed you at the end of the year or end of the quarter, a portfolio review of your property?
Great. I like that. Okay.
Yeah. If they're a buyer, Chirag has this cool calculator that shows basically what their monthly payment would be with the current interest rates. and what their monthly payment would be if the interest rates went up 1% or down 1%, right? So you could ask them, would it be helpful if I sent you some information on what your monthly payment would be at today's interest rates, and what it would be if it went up 1% or down 1%?
Okay, good
Yeah.
idea. Thank you.
Yeah, so I
Thanks.
think those are two options you could use.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, my pleasure. And if you need email scripts too, I have email scripts for both of those scenarios.
That'd be great.
Yeah, so just email me offline at martinezteam@compass.com and we'll send it over to you.
Thank you.
Cool. Anyone else?
Crickets.
Yeah.
Do you know what's going on over there with that autopilot? What is that?
Oh, I think Victoria is AI and she's recording our entire conversation. So this is great.
Okay.
Okay, how about the seller not wanting to put the house on the market now that the holidays are approaching?
Okay, do you want to be the seller or do you want to be the agent?
I'll be the seller.
Okay, perfect. Hi May, how's your day going today?
Okay.
So I just wanted to touch base with you. I know last time you mentioned we spoke about your property. Do you still have a minute? Do you have a minute to chat right now?
Yes.
So I know you were contemplating putting your house on the market now versus after the new year. Is that still the case?
I actually, want to make a pause because the interest rate are so high right now, and I just don't want look-low into my house.
Understood. So what I hear you saying is your concern is that there's not going to be enough buyers that's going to look at your house because interest rates are continuing to go up.
Yeah, and the economy is not certain, and the gas price in California is just abysmal.
Understood. No, those are valid concerns. So when do you think is the right time to put your house on the market?
I would say, the second week of January.
And what do you think interest rates would be in the second week of January?
Actually, it is going to be an election year, so I think that this administration will make an effort.
Okay. In my opinion, based on what market experts have speculated, it sounds like interest rates are actually going to continue to go up until the next election cycle.
Why
So,
say?
well, this is what market experts are telling me. Like basically, mortgage brokers that do many deals, not only in California but in other states in the U.S. They speculate that interest rates are going to continue to go up from now till about June or even potentially September of next year.
Okay, so that will kill the economy. Who will be able to afford homes then?
Well, I mean, it's a valid concern. Is everyone, mortgage brokers, realtors, we're all obviously, we're up to date on what's going on with interest rates. What we're seeing in the market is that even though interest rates are higher, there's less inventory. So whether you put your house on the market now or potentially next year, I mean, it seems like there's going to be a lot less inventory because most sellers are, I would say about 80% of sellers are locked into below a 4% interest rate. Yeah, actually, our CEO, Robert Refkin, was on CNBC a couple of weeks ago stating the same. So we just think inventory is going to be tight until interest rates go probably below 6%.
Well, I have been visiting open house myself, and I didn't see that traffic was so great at the property I visited. What do you think?
I mean, maybe for that specific property, maybe there was just a pricing problem with that specific property, or maybe it was just a bad day. But some buyers visit on open house Sundays and some buyers visit during the week. So maybe you just call it that property on a bad day. Would it be helpful if I sent you recent comps for your property?
Sure. But I noticed that the realtor that I met in the field did not seem to be very enthusiastic. Are they discouraged or what?
I mean, I can't speak to what the other realtors, how their day is going or how their business is going. I can speak to what my business and what my experiences are from, market experts. And we just notice inventory is a lot less. So if you put your property on the market now, I mean, interest rates, with our speculation of interest rates rising in January, I mean, I think it makes more sense to put it on now before the new year. What are your thoughts?
Well, it is going to be a little bit inconvenient for me, with Thanksgiving approaching,
No, I mean that we could always do it two ways too. So Compass has private exclusive, right? So we could always put it up as a private exclusive. That way you don't accrue days on market and see if we get any reactions before Thanksgiving. And if we don't get a bunch of inquiries, we could just wait till the new year. How does that sound?
Yeah, can you explain your private exclusive to me and what makes Compass different from the other agent? Like Coldwell Banker has been in the business for like 100 years.
That's a good question. What specifically do you want to hear about what Compass could do for you?
I don't think that Compass is that well liked in the brokerage community.
And what makes you say that?
Because, people say that Compass is the Titanic, that it will implode.
And when you say implode, what specifically do you mean gonna implode?
Other agent told me that Compass is too ambitious. It has offices everywhere, and right now with capital tightening and the interest rate rising, it is not going to be able to meet its obligation.
And how would that affect you in selling a home in terms of Compass meeting their obligations?
Well, if the other brokers do not like Compass, they would not come to my house.
I don't, in my experience, I don't think that's the case. I think when buyers agents are representing their buyer, they have a fiduciary obligation to represent their buyers. If their buyer says your home is priced well and they want to see it or they're interested in your home because of our marketing, they're going to want to see the home. And if they're interested in the home, they're going to want to make an offer. And I don't think an agent is going to deter their buyer from making an offer and potentially losing out on a commission. Does that make sense?
Yes, I heard that you write listing description by robots. I don't want a crazy robot describing my house that I spend so much time and effort cultivating.
I mean, I don't know what you mean in terms of specifically like a listing description by a robot, but we have copywriters that have worked for the New York Times. But I mean, some copywriters now they spell check their listing description with ChatGPT now. I mean, I don't think. Do you own a Tesla?
No.
Well, people that own Tesla sometimes they use AI for it so they could drive their car. So I mean, it seems like AI it's a big thing now in our lifetime. So
do you think that the Compass technology really is more advanced than the other brokerage? How about EXP? I see a sea of EXP agent in my neighborhood.
Okay, to stay on track, I've never worked for EXP, so I don't know about their technology. All I can speak to Compass's. In terms of technology, yes, we have great technology. Is there something specifically you like to hear about the technology and how it's going to help you sell your home?
Yeah, how about the marketing,
Yeah, so I could send you a marketing plan. I think I sent it to you before, and it'll show you our step-by-step process on how to sell your home in a quicker time frame and for more money. But also I'll send you some information on what we use in terms of we actually use AI to create digital ads and target market buyers in and around the neighborhood. And yeah, we leverage technology just to target market like other buyers agents as well. Do something.
Yeah, marketing is very fine, but how do you know that the buyer is qualified?
Oh, I mean, we like every time we get an inquiry from a buyer's agent or a buyer, we ask them, what's their motivation to the buy? Have they been pre-approved before scheduling an appointment?
I see.
That's
thank you so much for your. I will think about it.
Awesome. So I'll send you the comp report based on your home. When would be a good time to follow up with you?
A couple of days, like 3 or 4 days.
Oh, okay. So does Friday around this time work?
Sure.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Thank you, Justin.
You're tough.
The market is actually challenging, but I want to be here for the long term. So thank
Yeah.
you for the well, persuasive statement.
No worries. All right, guys. Thank you so much.
Okay, take care. Thank
Guys,
you.
have-
See you in 2
My
weeks.
pleasure. Yeah.
Justin,
Yes.
I just attached the marketing piece that I send out. Why, 7 reasons to sell during the holidays, in case it's helpful to anyone.
Oh, that's great. Where
Thank you.
is it?
You see my photo?
Yes.
I, can, can you see the link?
Yes.
It's the last hyperlink in the conversation in the chat.
Okay, got it. Oh, sorry, it just turned on. Wow.
That's okay, you can turn it.
All right, thank you so much. Thanks.
Thank you.
All right, guys, take care.
Thank you so
Bye.
Okay, take care.
Pleasure.